no idea, literally.
Because
No idea.
I'll tell you why we're late. We are late because we've already started this coffee and chat.
For about 2 minutes.
For about 2 minutes, having a really interesting conversation to discover that somebody hadn't pressed go live.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. And then we started it again.
And I've done it again.
And he still hadn't pressed go live. So,
good
evening, everybody.
Here
Thank
we are
you
at
for
last.
joining Vicky and I this evening. Now, we've already done all this bit already, but, you know, it was kind of interesting, so I'm going to give it another go. Vicky is, and I'm going to say a very old friend of mine. I'm not saying that she's very old. I'm saying that I've known her a long time. And you've just told me that you figured out just how long it is.
Yep, I reckon it was 2008 or 9 that we met for the first time.
And I remarked that I was just a child, but that moment has gone because anyway. So, good evening, everybody. This is my wonderful friend Vicky, who I have known for
14 odd years.
A little time. And Vicky has an absolutely incredible business called the Bijou Book Nook, or as Mark says, if you're around here, it's from the Bijou Book Nook. Book Nook. And Vicky makes the most exquisite junk journals. Now,
thank you.
I like making books, but I've never bought a handmade one apart from this little beauty.
Yeah.
Which is one of Vicky's, which I commissioned after we lost a couple of our little babies. And I have to tell you that I have never seen anything with such attention to detail. Your work, Vicky, is Boston. Absolutely exquisite. So,
yes.
Tell me, what is junk journaling? Because it's different from the sort of bookmaking that we usually do, isn't it?
It is different. I think junk journaling originally started as the ultimate recycling project, really, where you would take your junk mail, if you like, magazine pages, old envelopes, any bit of paper that maybe had already been typed on or written on, and you bound it together in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could use that book as the basis to journal your own work on top. So you would glue in pictures, receipts, stuff that you got from concerts, ticket stubs, bus tickets, things from days out, or you could just stick in a piece of blank paper and write your daily journaling on there, or your memories of your day out, or whatever it was. Glue it on top of the magazine page or junk mail or whatever was there,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be your new memory book or scrapbook or whatever you want to call it. Because when crafters get hold of these ideas, they kind of erupt, don't they? And they become something more, something bigger, something else. And now they are more, I'll call them works of art because they are. Some people's junk journals, not mine because it's not my style, are very, very full of beautiful collages, lots of attention to detail, lots of texture, lots of bulk, so you often end up with a gator mouth. Mine are specifically writers' journals. They are there with space for you to write, or if you want to go ahead, go mad and embellish your pages until you have a gator mouth, then that's your choice in your journal. But as I say, mine aren't full on super textured. They are writer's journals, so there's lots of space for writing. And lots of space, little hidden places for putting your little secret bits and bobs.
But I found a lot of that in the journal that you made for me, because every page that you turn, there's a little hidden British short hair. I mean, it's so beautiful. It just, yeah, I haven't been able to do anything with it yet because it's just too gorgeous, but I will. So why did you choose junk journaling over another form of bookmaking, for want of a better description?
I tried scrapbooking.
Hmm.
I really did. Look at this. A scrapbook.
A scrapbook.
A scrapbook. This
That
is
looks familiar.
me doing
Oh wow.
scrapbooking.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was
think,
adorable one.
is that you?
That's me. When I was
No
3.
way.
Yes, way.
Certainly
Wasn't
not
I
me.
cute?
That must have been just before we met.
I wish. So yeah, I did do scrapbooking,
Smoothie.
but me and my family really hate having our photos taken.
Okay.
So it kind of became a pointless exercise in that there were no photos, and I really just kind of fell out of love with it. But as we all do when we start on a new hobby, we shop till we drop, don't we? So I had tons and tons of scrapbooking supplies.
Do
Just
you?
I do lying around, doing nothing, gathering dust, having to move house, and all of that. And I thought I really need to do something with it. And whilst I was having a bit of a bad mental health episode, I came across Mike Deakin on YouTube.
Oh, he's
Um,
fantastic.
he
Followed
is
him for
fantastic.
years. Yep, absolutely.
And he made one of these, if I can find it. I did try and find it, so it would be here. So what's I done with it? Bear with me. So this is what happens when I try and be organised.
This is
It's all
typical
goes up.
crafting. Don't worry.
Here we go. He
Uh-huh.
showed us how to make a lap book. Well, a lap book kind of just keeps unfolding and has all sorts of bits and things.
Did you dye
So
those papers?
I did. That's my first attempt at coffee dyeing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They're quite funky, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I kind of followed on with his lap book making thing on YouTube, and I thought, I really really enjoyed that. And YouTube is very kind and gives you suggestions of things to watch next.
Yeah.
And I fell down the rabbit hole of watching things next,
Yes.
and came across junk journaling, and that was kind of it for me. The first journal that I made that wasn't for me was a Titanic journal for my son's girlfriend. She's big into the film and the history of the ship.
Did it give you a sinking feeling when you made it?
Almost.
So,
So I did a lot of research on it, and I did a kind of concept journal where part of it was just a journal to write in, and one signature of it was, if you like, my take on Rose's story, Rose from the film, and it was her journal from when she'd gone to Europe for her fashion shopping in Paris, and it was her recollections of fashion, places she'd been, and things that she'd seen. So it was kind of 2 signatures of just writing, and then a signature of Rose's trip on the Titanic. And I made her a suitcase, leather-bound suitcase, clever. Put the journal in there with a facsimile of the Heart of the Ocean necklace, and that picture that Jack drew of her. And I thought, after I made it, I was so chuffed with it. I thought, I could probably sell these. And then I thought, in for a penny. So yeah, that's how I started it. The guy's name is Mike Deakin.
Deakin, and I know that specifically because that's actually my maiden name. No relation. But he's really good. He does. Is he still doing Mission Inspiration?
I don't know, because I haven't seen any of his stuff since then, really, because I went down the junk journaling rather than the mixed media.
So I followed him for a while, but I haven't, probably for about 18 months or so. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, but he's definitely worth a look.
Yeah.
So
if you any interest in mixed media, because he's so what's the word I'm looking for? His stuff is achievable. He really does talk you through it, and he's just great.
He does lots of printouts as well, doesn't he? Do the digital downloads and stuff, I think.
He definitely did. Whether he still does, I don't know.
Okay. Oh, yes, he is. Just looked. I can't see who that is that said that, but that's good stuff.
Leslie.
Thank you. It was what?
Leslie.
Oh, it was Leslie.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Leslie, keep watching because we're going to keep talking. We're going to bring you into this in a minute. So, that journal actually sounds absolutely awesome. Do you still have the first journal that you made? Was that the first one then?
That wasn't the first. The
Okay.
first one. The first one was this glorious pink thing.
It's huge.
It's a beastie, but the Titanic was a beastie. But this was the first one that I made for me, and it's my mental health journal.
Fantastic.
I decided that I was diagnosed with depression, and I thought it would really help me to get it out. I didn't really have anyone I could talk to at the time. I was keeping a lot of stuff bottled up inside, and it really wasn't doing me any good. So I thought I will make a journal, and I will just write everything I'm feeling. So it's got pretty pages for good days, and it's got black pages for bad days when I'm feeling down in the dumps. So that was my kind of first thing that I did. I'm really not a journaler, it turns out.
Oh.
Spewing my mental health on the page didn't actually do me any good. I didn't keep up with it. So now I use it as a reference tool, and I scavenge bits out of it because I put some really cool stuff in it. So when I'm making other journals, I'll go and have a look in here and think, oh yeah, that will go nicely in that journal that I've just made. So that's it's a reference work. And I learned a lot from doing it. The main thing is don't do traveler's notebook signatures with 1mm elastic because it's just not strong enough.
Okay, good tip.
And if you Mod Podge covers, they're a bit sticky afterwards.
Oh.
So I don't Mod Podge anymore because they never really properly dry. But they dry, but it just feels a bit tacky.
So the Bijou Book Nook
is
quite a unique little name there. What how did you come up with that one?
Well, I was reading a book, as I do, and the author described a book nook, which is a cute little place where you sit down with your book and you read and you're happy and you're cozy and you're comfy and it's lovely. And I thought, that sounds like such a nice place. And that was kind of in the back of my mind. And then when I'd seen lots of these beautiful journals that I'd seen on YouTube, and I started making them myself, I thought, actually, these books are little treasures. They are bijou. And bijou is small, elegant treasure or jewel. So I thought that kind of describes the books. My little craft room is my making books nook. So it kind of all went together and became the Bijou Book Nook.
And I have put in the information for today. So if you're on YouTube, this is in the drop down information box underneath the live, and then actually on the live in Papers is a Story, the links to all of your social media. So your Facebook, your Instagram, and your YouTube. So tell me, Vicky, how on earth do you decide what journals you're going to make?
Right. Two things.
Okay.
First thing is, I might get a commission.
Okay.
Well, I suppose if we go right back to the beginning.
Okay.
I didn't have any commissions, obviously, when I first started making them. So it was really something that appealed to me. And I don't have left any of the first journals I made because they've all been sold. But they started off as being colour, really. One was a green journal, this sort of size.
Okay.
One of these traveller's notebooks type.
Oh, is that like mine? Mine
yes, like yours, just like that. And it was greens and flowers and a bit of pink in there. It was quite girly, but not overly girly. And I made a black and white one. So those started off as just being, if you like, a generic sort of, not a themed journal. And then I made a couple of more girly, sort of pink, vintagey, rosy, flowery, romantic-y, shabby chic-y kind of things. And then I'm trying to think, I think I sold those mainly at craft fairs rather than online. But at some point, somebody must have seen one of my journals and then commissioned one for them for a specific thing. And that's when I started to think, actually, there is a definite market in making journals specifically for people. Like yours, I do generic cat journals, but I knew you loved your British short hairs. So when I had the commission for your journal, I had to find as many British short hairs as I possibly could.
And you did, and I love it.
So, you know, that's the beauty really of doing commission journals, is that you can super personalize them if you know who they're going to. If I have the time, ability to do it, and the person that has ordered it knows the information, then I'll try and get as much information from them as possible. So sort of like birthdays, because I put old diary pages in.
Yeah, because you asked me for Loki's birthday. I remember that, and I just thought that is so cool to actually put that level of detail and thought into it. Was
I've seen you question, Lorraine. I'll come to you.
Yeah, it meant such a lot.
So it's things like birthdays, wedding anniversaries, husband's birthdays, any special day that, you know, a day that's special to whoever the journal's for. So I'll try and match dates to people, subject matter to people, favourite flowers to people, favourite colours to people. As much as I can do that, and as much information as somebody giving me a commission can give me, I will do my level best to include, because that's what makes me feel good, is knowing that I've made it personal to that person.
Well, Donna says hi from Pennsylvania.
Hello.
And Lorraine is asking, do you buy your junk or do you source it from somewhere else?
Right. My junk, a lot of what I... Oh, I didn't say that online. Oh my goodness me. My journaling.
You're going to get me banned again. I thought we weren't talking about that. Sorry, Vicky, carry on. Where did you get your junk?
Where I felt charity shops is basically the best place. Is charity shops.
Okay, cool. Oh, you and Leslie both. The stuff she finds is just incredible.
So it's anything that's papery, obviously is good for me. I use a lot of old books that I know are either going to get binned or pulped or whatever ends up happening to them. Because obviously you're not copying the pages, you're actually unmaking the book and using the pages, so it's not a copyright issue.
Okay.
So I use old book pages, I use old magazine pages, old sheet music, anything papery, old letters, birthday cover envelopes, anything can go in a junk journal as long as it's got either pocket making ability or somewhere that there's space for you to write on, or you're happy to cover over to put another piece of paper on top of it so you can write on that piece of paper. So basically charity shops. I don't really buy much in craft shops anymore. I'm using up the scrapbooking stash of paper and whatever that I've got. So I'm trying to get to the bottom
We're all trying to do that and failing.
Get to the bottom of that. That will never happen. And then the other thing that I do is I do use a lot of digital kits. And they mainly come from either Etsy or I design my own. Mad keen Photoshop skills.
Okay.
Well, they're not that mad, but you know, I have improved my Photoshop in the last 2 years. quite significantly.
Well, last time I saw you, you showed me a sheet that you'd done, and it was quite good.
Quite good.
It was quite
Yeah,
good.
it was all right. Yeah, it's all right.
So, any
Yeah.
designs on designing in the future, or
It's
doing your own
definitely something I'm thinking about, because as you've seen, this is one of my standard journal sizes, and this is an Eileen Hull journal die, which isn't a standard size for digital prints. They tend to be A4, so you fold them in half for A5, or a Midori or something, traveler's notebook size, which isn't quite the same size as that. So my digitals are designed for that size journal, because obviously they have to work for me. So I may think about marketing those, which is a very niche market, because I don't know of anyone else that makes those kind of journals. Or it's changing my designs and sizes so that they can be sized up for an A4 to A5 fold. So that's a definite possibility.
Leslie Kilby is asking,
yes.
Great question. This level of care and research must take you so long. So how do you ever charge enough for a commission? I have to say, knowing your prices, I think you are exceptional value for money.
I think I'm on about 10p an hour.
Yeah, crafting
wages. If I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't afford to pay someone to make my journals. I seriously hugely undercharge. But I'm not in it to shed loads of money. I'm doing it for my mental health. I'm doing it because it makes me feel good to have that creative outlet. I do it because when I get good feedback, it makes me feel good. Same with everybody else. And I just love making journals. And if I kept them all, oh my goodness me, my husband would leave. Well, no, he'd kick me out. Yeah, he wouldn't be a happy chappy, because I've got stuff in every room in the house. It's shameful. Thankfully, he's out, so he can't hear this.
So how can people contact you if they want to commission?
If you want to do a commission, then contact me through my Facebook page on Messenger, and we can start a conversation, and I can help you out. Hopefully.
So with your books, with your journals, what's been your favourite one that you've made so far? Apart from mine, obviously.
Apart from yours, obviously, which probably wasn't one of my favourites, to be fair, because cats are really difficult. Actually, if I'm going to be hand on heart honest, sorry, they're just an alienating half my audience. But the thing you have to understand with junk journaling is you are limited with what you can do to what is available. And because I use digital kits, because you can't always get scrapbooking paper that's got what you want on it in the colours that you want it, or anything, I use digital kits, and for a digital kit, the images have to be in the public domain. Now, if you're looking at public domain images that you can use, they tend to be 100 years old plus. And back in those days, they used to really like to make animals look like humans and put them in clothes, and we give them very odd expressions that I really don't like. I really didn't like working with them.
No, they can be a bit weird.
Yeah. So thankfully, I did find a more up-to-date cat kit, which worked okay. But the cats were a struggle for me, because I'm a dog person as well.
Yes. Lorraine says you should just design cat junk journal stuff. Lorraine's a fellow cat lover.
Thanks, Lorraine.
We could make a book with it. In fact, you could come and take over, and I'll go on holiday or something. That'd be grand.
Black sheep,
I was going to ask
Mm-mm.
you what your least favourite one was, but I think you've just answered that.
Oh,
so would you care to tell us about your favourite one?
No, this is my least favourite.
Which one's that? That's
is
the
about.
type.
It's not.
Another,
It's not the Titanic.
oh,
It
okay.
really isn't the
It's a
Titanic.
big
No,
boat.
It's a boat.
Baltic Nook boat.
it's a cruise ship. It's a cruising journal.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I would imagine they're quite popular, aren't they? Lots of people go cruising.
Well, it was a commission,
Yeah.
and I really, really struggled with it because I don't do cruising. I've never
Okay.
been. And again, we've got the problem of the public domain images, so it's all got to be old stuff. I mean, it's come out really nice, and I'm pleased with how it came out, but it was a struggle. I found that a struggle because it's not something that I have any experience of, and when you don't have experience of something, trying to get your head in the same place as the person that's ordered it can be quite a struggle. My favourite is a journal called Frisia, which I don't have anymore because I sold 3 or 4 of them, but there is a video of it on YouTube, and it's a garden theme journal, and I absolutely loved it. Loved making it. Love everything about it because it has great pockets, because it's one of these bigger journals like that cruising one that you've got, that's an A5 page, so you've got a bigger palette for working on to actually leave some space for writing.
But you haven't kept one?
No, I'd sell them all.
Weird.
The thing is, if I kept them all, I'd be inundated. I've got video.
So I can't, because I don't. It just says Facebook user for me, so I apologize. Sue. Sue, lovely Sue says, do you add mixed media to your pages with stencils and inks, etc.?
Yes, I do. I don't know, you might have seen in that one. I do a lot of coffee dyed paper because it's nice to age up some bog standard printer paper. So that's over here. I can't see. There we go. That is coffee dyed paper, and obviously there's a stencil on it. So where I've got coffee dyed paper, I generally do some kind of stencil on it just to tie it in with the theme, and to break up the coffiness of it. I do edge inking. I ink edges. We all have a bit of edge inking, don't we? Yes. Other mixed media stuff. Yeah, I did a thank you, whoever that was. I did a really beautiful. Oh, I've said that myself, haven't I? It was beautiful. Mermaid address book. And that had some gorgeous stenciling on it, which I didn't do. That's why it was so gorgeous. But yeah, I got a friend to do it for me, and it was lovely. So yes, I do mixed media, but I don't go massively painty, because as I said before, I am aware that you need to be able to write on it. I don't want to bulk the pages out too much and make it too difficult for you to write on the other side of it. And if you've got a lot of layers or a lot of texture, that becomes difficult.
Just before we get on to this great question, I'm just looking back a bit, and somebody's asking about a black sheep as hard as cats. I'm not sure if they're talking about the family or... No, I don't know. In a fight. No, I don't think that's the question. Black sheep, that's interesting. Who asked that?
That was Tallulah.
Oh, black sheep.
Black
Not
sheep.
literally. No, just, yeah, black sheep. Is that a hint, Tallulah? Are you looking for a black sheep journal? So, okay then. Who did you follow most to create your writing travel journal, or who? Rizwana says, who inspired you the most to create journals?
There's quite a few YouTube artists that I have been inspired by, and they are great to watch for tutorials if you want to have a dabble. It's Tracy Fox at Love Junk Journals, Andrea Allen at Artie Mays, Wendy, I can't remember what her last name is, but she's Wendy's Journal Adventures. There's a lady whose YouTube is Shabby Dabby Doodah. If you go on YouTube and just put in junk journal tutorials, you'll find a gazillion, and it's a question of finding somebody whose style you like and whose presenting style you like. If you're really into your mixed media, have a look at Artie Mays, because Andrea Allen does a lot of mixed media in her junk journal, and they are fabulous.
Wow.
And she does amazing tutorials. She does head over shots, and she talks you through everything. She's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Is this a time to remind you that I'm still harassing you about coming to do a class at the Crop? Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on. What's
if it's demand, I'll think about it.
Yeah,
I said, if it's demand, I'll think about it.
We'll get there. What's the most unusual commission that you've had?
I just mentioned the Mermaid address book.
Yeah.
That was part of a commission for 4 address books. There was a sewing themed one, a safari themed one, the Mermaid, and a Day of the Dead themed address book.
Okay.
And the Day of the Dead themed address book was quite a challenge, actually.
But it was.
It was quite a challenge. So that's probably the most unusual sort of whole commission. To have 4 address books from one customer was a lot. And then the Day of the Dead one was wow. Yeah, I was a challenge. But
yeah, I can imagine. So how long? I mean, because your journals are so involved, how long roughly does it take you to make one?
It's a difficult question to answer, because when I'm working on the Traveller's Notebook type, if it's just a one-off, I don't think, say it's a commission, and I don't think I'll sell any more of them. If I worked a 37-hour week, I could get it done in 5 days.
Wow.
But that's working a 37-hour week. So it does take me a full week to do it, heads down, concentrating, not, going and doing anything else. But I work for myself, so that's not how I work. Nobody would work like that if they had the choice not to. So I will have a long lunch or go out and have coffee and cake with my hubby or whatever. So so say a week if I'm concentrating. But I tend to, if it's like the Recipe Keeper was a commission, and I knew when the lady asked me for this that it would be popular, because we all have family favourite recipes that would be really nice to pass down. We all have crappy bits of magazine that we've ripped out that have become family favourites that we need to put somewhere. So that one I made 4 of at the same time. I think that took me about 3 weeks to get all 4 of them done. So I'll tend to bulk them up because it's quicker to work on 4 at a time than 4 individually. The most I've done at once is 6, and that's just too difficult to wrangle because you've just got so many pieces of paper. It's impossible. But the big beasties, these things of beauty with the hollow spine.
Wow. It is beautiful.
Yeah, this one took me about 3 weeks to do, mainly because I struggled with it so much. It really did take a lot of thought and concentrating and working things out. But I think they're worth it because they are gorgeous. They just feel so nice in your hand. They're just really nice.
It's like a big boner.
It's like a book. It's like a really nice book.
Wow, who knew? I think, I don't know if you've noticed, but as we've been chatting, Mark's been scrolling all of these comments, and I'm getting the impression that people actually agree with me that maybe no pressure, but, tutorial at Crop and class, it might be all right.
So, got my arm at my back.
Yeah.
Feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
So, what's your process then for making? Where do you start? How does it go?
Right. If it's a commission, obviously we know we're doing a book about. Here's one I prepared earlier.
Oh.
Look at this.
Were you on Blue
You
Peter?
probably can't tell, can you? This
What's that? Can't see.
This is a male version of the recipe keeper.
Okay.
Right? You probably can't. It doesn't look very male at all.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. A chef.
Because this little beauty, my ladies version, is very girly and beautiful, and has all sorts of lovely girly stuff in it, and isn't terribly bloaty. And a lady asked me if she could have one of these for a chap, but could I just leave the lace and the ruffles off it so it was more manly? And I said, I can by all means, but all the images inside are women. Then 50s, it's a retro, so it's 50s sort of cooking ladies. So I said I would redesign one for her to make it a male one. So I've got my theme. If I know I'm making a traveller's notebook, I start with working out what my signatures are going to be. Now, signature, I get technical with you now. I give you a pre-lesson lesson. Okay.
Oh yeah, because we're going to get a little demo tonight, aren't we? I believe.
Yeah. The signature is one of these.
Okay.
Right. It's a collection. It's a collection of pages that you bind into your book.
Right.
Right. So I will start off with collecting my papers. I wish there was better. Let me put this light on. Oh no, it's too bright. Does that help? No, that's not helpful. Okay. So it's a collection of papers of all different types. Because it's a junk journal, I like to go with different page sizes.
Yeah.
So that's coffee dyed.
Yeah.
That's a digital. That's an envelope that I've got to do something with because that's going to be some pockets.
Uh-huh.
What can you see?
Yeah.
I can't drive my camera. It's beyond me. So we've got lined paper and more digital. Oh no, that's cookery book. That's a very old cookery book, 1930 something cookery book page tab. So put together the papers that I want. I know that I want between 12 and 14 pages in a signature, otherwise it's too quick. And then I've got what I call my signature anchor, which is the cardstock that it goes into to bind it into the actual cover. And this is where all the flips and flaps and pockets and bits and pieces go. And then when I've worked out all of that, that's when all the fun bit starts. And we go in with the embellishments, which obviously in that male one, there's not going to be any of this type of thing, which is a fabric ruffle. That's going in a reading journal. So that will be sewn on to the edge of the page. So it'll be the embellishments and stamping, that kind of thing, all goes on before I sew the signature together, because it's really difficult to put things through your sewing machine if you've already sewn it into your book. And then any pockets or bits and pieces that are going in pockets, I'll work on those. So journaling cards or tags. And then I'll work on altered paper clips. So that's an altered paper clip. It clips onto the page.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and then you can obviously, when you've got your loose bits of paper, your bus tickets, your recipes, whatever, you can clip it in there until you've got time to glue it in, or just leave it clipped in for whenever.
It's all these little touches that just bring the whole thing to life.
That's the thing, because in the beginning of the process, 9 times out of 10, I'll hate the journal I'm working on because it's just pages and it's a bit meh, and I'm a bit, it's not really good. Inner critic is going mental, and I hate it. I'll say to my husband, "Oh, it's just really not going very well. I hate it," and he'll say, "Oh, we're at that stage, are we?" And I'll say, "Yes, we are." It's got no personality. It's adding the ruffles and the stamped edges, punched paper edges and lace, and the embellishments, labels, all those bits that give it its pizzazz, its jewellery, if you like. That's when it gets its personality and when it comes alive to me. So yeah, so I put all the signatures together, sew the binding, and then with the traveller's notebook ones, they just get wound through the elastic, and that's easy.
Okay.
With the noticed a question earlier about what's a hollow
from
back
Donna.
binding.
What's a hollow spine?
Hollow spine, right? If I can hold this up, I'll show you exactly what if I can find the camera.
All
Here
the
we
way.
go.
Yeah, that's it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
So
you-
that's a
can
bit
you
like
see?
what was that book we did?
Mhm.
The floating spine. We've done a, well, it's not at all like yours, but we had a floating spine, so I'm guessing it's kind
Right,
of, that's
Can you
really
see
clever.
there?
Yeah.
That's the hollow back. That is the cover, so you can't see any stitching where I've sewn in the signatures.
No.
That's the spine, so you can't tell that the signatures have been sewn into the book at all, because all of that, the mechanics, if you like, are down inside here.
Is that a lot more complicated to do, that style? I really like it.
It is,
Really
and
like
it's fiddly and frustrating, and I generally have to do 3 attempts at it before I'm happy with it, because you want to get it so it looks right here.
Right. Okay.
But your end papers do hide a lot, as does inking.
I identify with that.
Yes. So I prefer doing a hollow back spine. I've never done a stitched through, and I don't think I ever would. Although I have seen ones where they've got buttons down the spine with the stitching, and they do look really nice. So maybe one day I'll
This is completely different again to like Coptic binding, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow. There's so many ways. I was quite fascinated by this.
Yeah.
So
Lorraine's do I gather everything first or find a bit of both, to be honest? I'll get my pages together, know what my theme is, certain embellishments and things that I know that I've got them in my stash. I'll get all of those together. When I come to put it all together, when I'm nearer the end of the process and I think, oh, I've got pages here that just look so boring, there's nothing on them, then I might have to start making stuff to make those pages more attractive. And I also probably have to order charms and like the anchor that was on the front of here. I had to order that in. So yeah, generally I'll get everything together and have an idea of what I want right at the start. But as it evolves, you sometimes you have light bulb moments and you think, oh, that would look really nice. I need to get her, or I need to make her, or I need to print one off or design one or whatever. No, I don't necessarily machine sew the signatures. I machine sew things like ruffles and lace and pockets. I can't even hold this anymore. To the paper, and then I hand sew the signatures. I've never tried machine sewing because I can't sew in a straight enough line, mainly.
Okay.
No skill in that. I can't cut a circle and I can't sew a straight line.
Don't tell us all your trade secrets.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Lynn's liking your ribbons. What time is it with you, Lynn? Lynn's in New Zealand.
Like that.
So
I made that
quite early, I think. Ribbons are great.
Yeah, I made that. That's my amazing crafting ribbon collection thing.
You made it?
I made that.
Wow.
Yeah. Skills, eh? Skills.
There's just nothing you can't do.
There's nothing I can do. You're right. Yeah.
If you do have a problem, how do you get around it? So I don't know, if like you said, with my cats being difficult, stuff like that. What sort of problems do you come across?
Right. A lot of the time it will be operator error, because I'm quite good at that. Aren't we all? Like I think I have an operator error here in the bin. Normally I'm not wasteful, but I stamped on this. Where are you? I stamped on this in the wrong place.
That way.
Yeah, I didn't want stamping where I put stamping, so
Okay.
I jettisoned. And then I thought, no, I
It
didn't.
doesn't look wrong.
I thought, no, I'll just stick a stamp on the back and then it'll be fine. And then I did such a bad job of stamping. I thought, no, I can't. Quality control says, So this piece of paper now, beautiful coffee dye, will get cut up and used as something else because I don't do waste. So I'll either start again if it's not that serious, or I'll design something to go over the top of it, because with my mad Photoshop skills, I can do that. Or I'll stick a label on it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
always good. It's like your thing is an opportunity for embellishment.
Yeah,
But with
absolutely.
me, it's an opportunity to embellish, but it's got to be flat. So I can't stick a flower on it. But I will try and cover it up if I can. If it's an abandon hope and start again, then there might be a little bit of sweary. But start again. Put up my big girl pants, have a little sob, and start again. But generally speaking, touch wood, I'm pretty good at not massively cocking up.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
What's your favourite tool?
It's my Teflon boner.
It's a boner.
My Teflon boner. Because
boner.
I had lots of these, and all of a sudden they all started making my folds shiny, and I didn't like that. So I looked up something that wouldn't give me shiny folds, and it's a Teflon boner, and I love it. It took a bit of a while to get used to because it's a lot thicker than the
flexible,
others.
aren't they?
And it feels, well, this one's rock solid, and it just feels a bit weird in my hand. But now I'm used to using it, I wouldn't go back. But the other thing that I do love is my sidekick.
Oh, got you.
Because, well, for one, it was free. It came with a magazine subscription, probably back in about 2008. It just lives just behind me there, and it's really handy for those little things that you want to keep die cutting. Because I've got the big old A4 mangle downstairs. Yep.
Mine's good old Aldi or Lidl, one or the other.
Yeah. But they're just so convenient. And if I was going to crop as well, I'd more likely take that than a big one because just for the weight. But I do have the big A4 mangle, which I couldn't do my job without.
Right.
I couldn't also do my job without my big Fiskars.
You got
you know
a
what I mean? Slidey thingy. You know the big one? The big beastie.
Here's one I made earlier.
One of those. Yes, that's the one.
Hello, tell me about it.
Yep. Permanently set up.
Have you got Mark's hack on it?
Yes, I have. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Couldn't work without that either. I mean, why would you put the 6 inches in the crack?
It is odd. I have to say it is. I don't know.
Mark, you're a shocker.
So what are you working on at the moment? Oh, hang on. There's a proper question, not one of mine. What kind of paper do you use? You've alluded to this, and I'm fascinated by it. And what weight?
Right. This is a bone of contention now. For these, which are my signature anchors, these are 200 GSM cardstock, which I used to buy from the range. The range have swines changed their supplier, and their 200 GSM white cardstock is now horrible. It's not white and it feels really grainy. So I am at the moment desperately trying to find a replacement that doesn't cost the earth and will go through my printer, because I have an Epson Eco Tank, which, if you are thinking about getting into printing off digitals, don't do it with a printer that has, you know, the little expensive cartridges.
No.
Go for an Eco Tank, because you buy the ink as a liquid and you get so much more for your money. If I was still using my HP printer, I would be bankrupt, because I do print an awful lot. So 200 GSM for my signature anchors. When I'm printing off digitals, which is this, and I don't print on high quality, I print on standard quality, because
Okay, that's interesting.
I prefer it because I don't know if it's my printer or just me, but there's too much black. Black is too strong on my print. I could probably change the settings, but I'm not prepared to waste the paper and ink to get it right.
Yeah.
And I just think, because I tend to go for a vintage sort of vibe anyway, the more muted suits that than big, bright, too bold. So that's a 900 GSM, and it's an HP colour something or other. I find out what it is and let Cal know, so she can put it in the notes for whoever it is that wants to know. But it's a 90 GSM, and it feels that sounds really mad, but you'll understand because you're all paper people. It feels really nice when it comes out of the printer. It's got a really nice feel.
Okay.
So that's the paper that I use. I don't use photo paper.
Okay, that's interesting. Are there any sort of like colours and styles that you don't, or papers that you really don't like working with, or you won't work with?
Colours, I'm easy. I work with any colour. Doesn't bother me. A lot of what I do is vintage, so it's brown, which means you get through a lot of yellow in your ink tank. God, said they need to start selling bulk packs of yellow for junk journalists specifically. So no, not bothered about colour. But there's two things that I really don't like, and I cannot get my head around why designers are selling this at the moment. Is scrapbook paper that's already got photos on. You know, the like photo real scrapbook paper.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Why would you want photos of other people's stuff when you're putting photos of your stuff on top? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I can't use it in my journal. So, you know, I don't like that. And then the other thing I really struggle with, and it'd be interesting to get the opinion of your ladies, vintage photos. A lot of journalers use vintage photo images either in their digital work or as attachments into their journal. So they're other people's great grannies or grandpas or whatever, or kids. Obviously they're vintage photos, so these people are probably long gone. I can understand the aesthetic of them. They are beautiful pictures. I can understand liking them because they are 100 years old. I wouldn't want to buy a journal that's got other people's pictures in. It's my journal for my pictures. I just don't get putting somebody else's granny in a journal to sell. But that might just be because I'm a bit weird. I don't know. It's like I find it difficult to use Tim Holtz's paper dolls for the same principle, because they're people I don't know that I'm putting in a book. They just seemed a bit weird. Maybe it's me.
Okay, moving
on.
It's
a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. Tell us a little bit about the Sweaty Bum Club.
Sweaty Bum Club?
Sweaty Bum Club. No, I said we wanted to bring Leslie into this.
Well, Sweaty Bum Club. The second time I met Cal, this was after we met at the Crop in 2008, was in 2018-ish, about then. And Cal was doing some mixed media tag classes at Hobbycraft in Stafford. And I thought, I'm going to go and have a go at that because I just discovered Mike Deakin. And I thought, oh, mixed media. But a brilliant opportunity to buy more stuff because I need more stuff. So I turned up to Cal's class and we kind of did I think I know you. Do I know you? And then we did know each other. So we met again at Cal's class, and one of the other lovely ladies in the class was lovely Leslie.
Lovely
Crafty
Leslie.
I call her. And anyway, we all got on very well. And we used to help Cal clear up at the end of the class. And
That was the
and
most important bit.
That's pretty much what
because of that, we got special treats, and we're allowed to go for coffee with teacher afterwards. And we always used to comment
Only if you paid.
true. How we always used to comment how sweaty our bottoms were after sitting on these
Those
chairs in the
chairs.
Hobbycraft for 2 hours. They were pretty bad. So hence the Sweaty Bum Coffee Club was named. And it was the three of us, and we would go and unsweaty our bottoms in Costa after class.
And we still do.
And we still do.
And Leslie will be delighted to hear that Vicky's told me that under no circumstances am I allowed to discuss
You're not
our previous conversation from last time. So I won't. Anyway, okay, so what are you working on at the moment? I'll tell you in a bit. Mark doesn't know either. No, you don't want to either. What's you working on at the moment?
Right, at the moment, I am doing these masculine recipe keepers.
Oh, yes.
And on the back boiler, I have a commission for one of your ladies, which is a horse-themed big journal. So that's one with the hollow spine. And I'm also got a commission for an ancient Egyptian hollow back spine journal, which is giving me a little bit of trouble at the moment. But I do have a Nefertiti's head. Thank you very much, Mark.
You do? Yes. I do. Last time I saw Vicky, I gave her that little flat head, the Nefertiti head that you printed for her.
Nefertiti?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not one of them.
Yeah, like that, but not like that. But it
just
was
like that. But
Flatterist.
Flatterist, yeah.
Indeed. Less bulky.
So
that's what I'm working on.
We've talked a lot about junk journals, obviously, because that's something that we've all. Oh, there you go. There's a great one from Lorraine. Motorcycle themed one, but from it. Not that she wants. I think that sounds like she wants it for herself.
It sounds like it.
And I have a friend for whom that would be. You're going to have to start a whole line here because I know somebody who that would be good for. In the time that I've known you, I mean, I have memories of you on my Christmas tree every year because you really have a huge range of crafty talents. So what else do you enjoy doing?
Well, funny you should say that, because I was thinking about my knowing that we were speaking tonight, thinking about my crafting journey.
Okay.
And it made me think back to my childhood. Now, both my parents are teachers, and as the child of teachers, I was educated quite a lot.
I know. Yes.
Yes. So even holiday time was an opportunity for learning.
Oh yeah.
So I used to get, and I'm not by any means upset about this because it has started a lifelong love of crafting. But Christmas and birthdays were an opportunity for craft kits of all descriptions. So I have macrameed, I have woven, I have embroidered, I have done beading. I wasn't very good at it, but I have done it. I have knitted, I have done dressmaking. And this is one of my early efforts of cross stitch.
Love it.
Which was given to me by my grandma to do for one Christmas when I was about 13. So that
No
kind of,
way.
yeah, that
Is
kind of says
that's
it all.
counted cross stitch?
Yes.
Good
Well, no, it was
grief.
printed. It was printed on, and then you crossed it over.
Wow. That's
But
pretty impressive for 13.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it closely, you can tell it's not done by an expert because none of the crosses run the same way, which I wouldn't make the mistake of doing now. And I know you have to cross
unique.
the right way. But that kind of summed me up then, and almost still sums me up now, because
I like that sentiment. It's a good one.
Yes. So I've done a lot of crafting. I've done a lot of different types of crafting. But the thing that was my comfort zone, if you like, was sewing. And before I was the Bijou Book Nook, I was Maisie Moonshine.
Mm-hmm.
And Maisie Moonshine did felt applique, and these are journals. There's a theme, obviously, plus paper. And I did these kind of things just because what you could buy in the shops was rubbish and glued together, and I took against that, so everything had to be sewn. So that's what I was doing before I was making journals, but I did it for 10 years, and all of that sewing has broken me in ways I wouldn't ever have imagined. And I now have a couple of RSIs, which mean I can't sew consistently anymore because I was doing 5 hours or so in a day, and I just can't do that. Now the most sewing I can do is sewing in a signature before the agony starts. So that was my previous thing, and because I can't do that is why I've changed to journal making.
Wow. What's your just in case anybody wants to know, what's your sort of lead-in time at the moment if anybody wants to book a commission?
I'm on holiday
to Christmas as well, because it's really not that far away.
It really isn't. It's frighteningly close, especially for crafters. We'll all be getting our Christmas cards underway soon, I'm sure. At least I'm trying to think of the deadlines I've got for the journals that I'm working on. The more notice you can give me, the better.
Yeah.
But I'm on holiday next week, at least 4 weeks.
Okay.
But as I say, the longer you can give me, the better.
Okay. And Mark's put a link to your Facebook up, and also it's in the description here as well, so people will know how to contact you. So other than that, any other gossip you want to tell us? Any other irons in the fire, or anything new and exciting coming up apart from the next installment of the Sweaty Bum Coffee Club?
I suppose that the irons in the fire really will depend on whether I go forward with the digital business.
Yeah.
But that's
teaching
and the teaching. If there's a demand for it, and I can get some really sound advice from somebody who might have done it before.
Somebody earlier on suggested a collab. Maybe we could work on that, you and I. That would be really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
As long as you do exactly what I tell you, it'll be just fine. No, I'm joking. You've never done that yet.
I'm misled.
So that would be new.
Lorraine's
asking, do you work best with a deadline?
It focuses the mind. Shall we say that? Yes, I probably do. And I've had really long deadlines this year, which has not focused the mind, to be honest. Especially with that cruising one, which I had a very long deadline on, and I let it drift because I wasn't enjoying it. And I should have just knuckled down and got on with it, like the housework. I should just do it and get it over with, and then get on to doing something nicer. So they focus the mind, but I do prefer it when I've got the leisure to take my time over it.
Yeah.
But I can get it done if I have to, and I have done. Well, I've had people desperate for an order for an event, so yeah, it is doable.
So, unless anybody's got any questions, we've actually been chatting for an hour and 10 minutes, which feels like it's gone so quickly, but that's about par for the course anyway, I think, with us. So, I'll hear Larissa, a mini book with a junk journal. Is like, actually, I was just thinking that actually a good collab would be you and Mark with a box with a junk journal inside. I'll just make the tea.
Yeah, I promise not to get involved with it.
Oh, shush. So, Vicky, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's always great to sit and chat about all sorts of things, including stuff. And Leslie, we need to get a date.
It looks like I have 2 people my hack.
Oh yes, and Mark will be in touch about his hack for the precision. It's a good one. Yeah. Brilliant. Vicky, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
This will not be the last time we see you, I know.
Hopefully not.
And we'll anybody who wants to know any more information just has to contact you. No problem.
Yeah, just message me. I'm very approachable and very helpful and very lovely. And I will do everything I can to make your journal super.
Very full of very strange conversations that I never expected to have, but we'll leave that there. And we'll see you really soon. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.